Alrighty gang, Shot21 here. We are back on the Voron V0.1, 0.2 build. We are working our way through it. This video we're going to get the Z motion done and hopefully the XY motion as well. The Z system on this one is a little different because I've modified the I'm using a modified Z axis system. So that is going to take a little bit of extra finickiness, but it shouldn't be too bad. Let me go get the manual up and we'll get started. Okay, so this is going to require some kind of specialized pieces. Some you can print, some you need to source, some you need to make. These are obviously printed parts. I don't need that. That's a two-piece unit. This you can buy, this you can print or buy. I had an extra line around from the V1 build. Or the 2.4 build. This I had laying around. This you have to make. And I still have a couple of those laying around. And you need some F695 2RS flanged bearings for this build. Now, what this does, what this has done, is in a way it has miniaturized the, and you need another stepper. Now, it does not have to be the same size stepper as you use on the AB drive. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. So, actually you need two of these. And you want the ones for 6mm belts, not 9mm belts. So, we're going to start this kind of a little weird. We got some M3 by 10s. And this I'm going to put together like this. Oh, excuse me. It's two M3 by 10s. Those go up here. Looks like an M3 by 12 and M3 by 16s. And I may go steal some silvers for this because it's all going to be below the deck and in the back. So, you also need 3 M3 washers, but I've got a boatload of extra shims, so we're going to use those. And I need an M3 by 12 as well. So the M3 by 12 goes in this slot. Now this has some pivot to it so you can tension the belt, hence why some of these get, screws. Though I need to back this off because I forgot the heat set. Need some heat sets first. So we need 2 heat sets in there. Okay, now those are in. I'm going to put this together. I'm running this off the side. Actually, I think I want to run it off this side. And then we'll get these 3 installed. All right, I'll set that off to the side for a minute. Now, this bar, you need to grind a flat on, so it's sort of D-shaped. I'm not going to Loctite any of this down until we make sure all the spacing and alignment is correct. Because using one of these versus the printed one, let me see if I still have the printed one somewhere. No, I don't. The printed one has a bubble on the back because you take one of the 9 mill belt ones and you press it into it, and then you run screws in to hold it in place. We're not doing that, obviously. Now from here, we need 2 of these bearings. One of which goes in here. Just as it sits. I may need to grab a hammer and tap that in. Okay, and the other one goes into here. All right. That goes in. This one goes in. Washer. Key. But we need to draw these in, and that's the other 2 M3 by 16s. And I'm going to grab a Allen key so I can actually get this. Too big there. Correct size. You are the correct size. Okay. All right, give me a second, I'll be back. So that's all cinched up tight. This is fairly free spinning. That's what we want. We toss that on. And this goes on All right. That will need to get spaced out some. Let's put the Alright, we're going to give it some extra space. Because we've got to put a screw here and one here. We'll take this off to do that. Alright, this is done, so we'll set that off to the side for now. The next bit is this block. This block carries bolts to the back of the bed, carries 2 sets of bearings, and runs up and down. And for that we need 2 M5x20s, 2 M5x20 nuts, and bearings. So let me grab those. Okay, and then we'll need the M3x12s. And we can use the M3x12s that are were for the original mount. So all right, so what we do here is we're taking 2 bearings, Alright, so we'll wedge those in. I may need to do a little more tapping because it is a little bit of a tight squeeze. And I'm going to tap them in. Tap that in. Let's see, is that's the right one. Alright. Run this in. And no spin. We do the same on the bottom. And then the carrier is done. Okay. Last piece, well, ish, is this mount. This mount, I see, also needs a M2x10 screw, which is not called out, but that's okay. I'll find some. I'm pretty sure I got some. But it also needs 2 more of our bearings. And this one, we don't even have to like force it in. We can just take our 2 bearings, slot them in, take our M5, make sure you get your key lined up as you tighten this down. Let's see if I can find another 2x10. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I found 2, but we need those for other things. So I found 2 non-self-tappers, which we don't need for other things. So we are going to run one of these non-self-tappers in. And that should hold that in place. All right, I think that's good. Now, here we have the clamp and end stop. It sits like this. So you're going to need one of your end stops. Which I have right here. And I need to see if we need to tear that tab off. I think we do. Yeah, we do need to take this little tab off. Pinch it and it comes right off. And then I think we want to mount it so that the push button is out. Alright, so it's going to go something like that, I think. Alright, I'm going to not tighten that all the way down just yet. I want to test offset. So let me grab that and this and check. Alright, so we need to check. So we have to take our Z cage, which goes here. Okay, yes, we want it out. So that's good. Now I will tighten this down. Okay. So all of these pieces are done at this point. Now, I already mounted one part of this to the frame. This piece has already been mounted. This piece right here, we mounted that way at the beginning, if you remember. That's for our belts. Now to mount these 2 pieces, we'll do that at the end here. This will mount at the end as well. Right now, what we want to mount is this. And we need to mount our motor as well. So, for this we also need a belt. We need one of these. Did I grab the wrong belt? I might have grabbed the wrong belt. Hold on, let me find the right belt here. Okay, I did manage to get that belt on. It was the correct one. It is a very tight fit. For this, I will need to pilfer. a grub screw for this guy. We will hit all of these grub screws with Loctite. I'll not do that right now, but it will happen once we get everything in place and we can ensure that all of the belts are aligned how they need to be. Pilfered a grub screw from this for something else, so we will also tension this up when it's done. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take this all off anyways, so. That was a miscalculation on my point. I have to clip these off. Okay. Fix that little oopsie. These are the M3x8s that we pulled apart earlier. Excuse me. Okay, now we need to align this with everything here. Right, that appears to be the correct offset. Alright, I think that's good. Now I need to check the manual, see where things mount. So I'll be back. Okay. So the only thing I think I need to mount down here at the moment is the power supply, the power converter, which I think I have around here somewhere. Oh, here it is. This guy. This is a 12 volt, no, 24 volt to 5 volt power converter. And it's going to mount right there, basically. So we're going to move that over. We're going to kick those over. And let me see what that mounts with. So we're going to mount that first. I have a sneaking suspicion those are M3x6. Let's see though. Okay, and then I need some M3x20s, I believe. M3x20s. It says it's kicked over as far as I can get it.
be able to see this, but we're going to shove these nuts over one by one and run those screws in. And now we'll get this mounted up. So I'm going to do this where I can see it. Try to do it where you can see it as well. Got the first one lined up. Okay. Again, not tightening everything down. But we can stand that up. Let's see how this top needs to go. Now, all right. And what do you need? 8s and 8s. Not M3 by 8s. And 4 of those. And 4 M3 screws, or nuts. And what we're going to do is I'm going to start screws through. And then just ever so gently start a nut on there. Just like that. And then this one drops down. Drops down the top here. And you want it to mount basically with the top of the flange dead even with the top or with the bottom of the crossbar here. I'm going to switch over to my flexi head here. Now this one is tricky because this one has a clamp built into it. So we almost have to do this one last, and we have to do it sideways. Now, that being said, we have one last piece to put on. One last piece to put on, and that is all right. So, got this done. I reprinted this on my resin printer because it's the only one I've got active. I'm going to have to reprint this as soon as this printer is up. I have no Z height. I'm gonna have to do something. I'm gonna have to glue that in there, something at the correct height. I'm also gonna have to do my Z adjustment based on Z stop, which will live somewhere around here. Should be right about there. but the current screw that's in there is not enough. I'll have to bump it up and then glue it in place. So I'm gonna have to sacrifice that one once I get the height correct. But that mounts up there, but we don't get to mount that just yet because we have to run the belt. And so I need to find the belt. Now for this belt, we need one that is 780-ish meters. And I thought I had one loose, which I do. So we're going to use that one. Not 780, 780 millimeters. So I'm going to hopefully should I get this so you can see it. Okay. Down here is a block. This block has kind of a D or a P shaped in it, or a 6 shape. Kind of comes down, up, and back around. And what that is for is you take a loop of the belt and you fit it in there and you pull it taut, and then you trim the excess. So this is going to take a little bit of finagling. I may have to end up chiseling some of this out just a little bit so I can get in here. So let me do that and then I will be back. Or let me see if I can finagle this out. Okay. I can pull these out. Let me get this pulled out. Okay, this moves over now. So I can snake it in and out. No, I'm gonna have to just drag it all the way out. So this is how it should look like. I already trimmed the tail off. You just pull this over, hit it with some side zips, call it good. Now, I'll get this back on and we'll get to stringing the belts. This is done. We are now in routing of the belt. I have to unfurl this a little bit here. And I'm gonna snip this off. Okay. So now this belt goes up. All right, loop it through this bottom belt, or through the bottom pulley. Drag it all the way through. Of course, it's twisted, so we'll strip this back out. The bottom is done. Make sure you go around the 20-tooth pulley at the bottom. And then we go back to this top pulley up here. Camera battery's going to die in a minute, so I'm going to try to get this done. Alright, we go up through that one. Trick a way to get it through this piece.